On day 1, I was staring at this old geezer in a helicopter when Mother Nature decided to flip it over my head. Now I was stranded on this frozen mountain with this numbnut who couldn't even talk, so we had to communicate using gang signs. I told him to get some food while I explored the crash site and scavenged anything that was useful. We climbed down the mountain using GPS until we reached this beautiful forest. It was great. I even feasted on these blueberries, but when I saw these dead bodies hanged outside the cave, I was shivering my timbers. Oh, never mind, I found a few dollars and it made my day. Now I could finally buy some V-Bucks. Suddenly, I noticed something behind me, and as I turned around, I saw these dirty looking creatures crawling on all fours and making noises. I tried to get close, but it ran away. I was hiking through the forest when I came across the cannibal village. As soon as they started growling at me, I grabbed my tail between my legs and ran away, because I'm not having any of this. In the panic of the moment, I nearly poisoned myself with these berries. Great. It was clear that I'm no Bear Grylls, but I had to survive if I wanted to wife up Virginia. I put down the top to camp for the night, but the savages came back to investigate us. Moving deep in the forest, I came across this beautiful lake and decided to build the base here. I told Kevin to get the logs while I chopped down the trees, and the water decided to perform gymnastics with my logs, and I did not appreciate that. Okay, so here's the deal. Am I stupid? Maybe. Could I have read the instructions on how to build a house? Maybe. Did I spend hours just to figure out how to place the logs on the floor? Sure. Am I the actual numbnut and Kevin is laughing at me from the distance? That I don't know. But you know what's more embarrassing is when it got dark, I placed the tarp on the floor, and every time I would try to go to sleep, the game would just refuse. And here I thought the tent wasn't big enough for both of us. But in reality, there were enemies all around, and hence why we couldn't sleep. And Kevin just built the fire on top of my tent. I guess we're both numbnuts. Anyway, somehow we survived one day in the forest. Day 2 went as usual. We were banging 2 brain cells just to figure out how to place the logs on the ground. And by the end of the day, I was able to complete the base of the house while Kevin was catching fish for me. I noticed Kevin acting weird, and to my surprise, we were being watched by these savages. But they weren't attacking us, which was even more terrifying. I also didn't want it to start a war, but they were getting on my nerves. So allegedly, I attacked one of the savages and it died. It wasn't me, it fell off the tree, I swear. On day 3, I finished the floor, and now it was time to build the walls. Kevin was helping me too, and the friendship was getting stronger. We were like a team, you know. As I was done with the walls, one of the cannibals decided to visit the base, and he tried to attack Kevin. God forbid, if anyone even looks at Kevin in the wrong way, I'm gonna tear him piece by piece. I finally got a hold of him, and the cannibal sealed his fate with my own hands. I also choked on this rotten fish. Like, how much time did the developers spend on this useless mechanic? Like, fix the gymnastics bug. Duh. On day 4, I was ready to build the ceiling, and we wasted no time in getting that done. I even made a few windows and a door to bring natural light into our base. I left Kevin for 1 second and he got jumped by the cannibals again. I think they were here to avenge their fellow cannibal. But they weren't just brainlessly attacking me, they would wait for the chance to attack and would even back off if I overpowered them. It was so unsettling. After dealing with the cannibals, the savages decided to attack my base. On day 5, I decided to build defensive walls around my house because the cannibals were trying to destroy it the day before. The attack of the savages continued as usual, and a cannibal with golden mask entered my base in macho style. He thought he was a gangster, so I gangstered his ass into pieces and threw it away. Meanwhile, the savages were attacking Kevin outside. Somehow, I was able to get rid of the savages and survived another day in the forest. Wait, where is Kevin? On day 6, I was repairing the damages of the base when one of the savages came back to say hi, and I accidentally chopped off his leg, and my character decided to munch on his leg while his buddy was watching. He tried to run away after seeing me eating his friend, so I decided to let him join his friend. And the rest of the day, we were gathering logs to raise the walls, and suddenly a savage attacked me out of nowhere. I was tied to a stick and ready to be sacrificed, but I was able to escape the place. I was putting up the walls when my eyes glazed over and I saw Virginia for the first time. My 3-legged horse. I tried to get close to her to say hi, but she got scared and ran away. It was so sad that even the skies were weeping, and you can't make this shit up. I put my broken heart back to my chest and slept for the rest of the day. On day 7, we were hard at work to complete the walls. I shaved half of the forest just to build the defensive walls. No wonder why the cannibals and the savages were upset with me, not acknowledging the fact that I nearly killed all of them. I was chopping down trees, and there was a giant cannibal staring at me for quite some time now. He suddenly jumped on me, and I got scared, and I threw logs at him, but they didn't even faze him. He even drop kicked me to the ground. I was able to throw hands, but he was way stronger. I was so scared that I went inside the base hoping that that this was just a dream. But when I came out, he disappeared. Oh, never mind. He was just on the other side of the house with 2 more hooligans. Actually, there was 3 more, and I dropped one of them, but the other 2 were still attacking my house. Oh god, there was actually 4 of them without counting the big one. I was slowly backing off to get away, but I got banged in the head by the big daddy, and I dozed off for the rest of the day. On day 7, I got away from the cannibals again and decided not to go back to my base because I was traumatized and I didn't even knew if Kevin was still alive. I went to one of the markers on my GPS and it was a cave. I was expecting some horror inside, but it was just a bunker. There I found some stuff and a 3D printer, so I printed arrows, mask, and a water bottle. On day 8, I forced myself to go back to the base. I thought I would be surrounded by the cannibals, but instead I saw Kevin. Kevin is still alive? Thank God, so I asked him to give me some fish. And the big daddy appeared again to bully Kevin, but this time I had my bow and arrows. So I started shooting his ass and it gave Kevin enough time to get away. And I finally dropped the big cannibal. I went to explore the forest and look for better equipment to defend myself against these horrible monsters. I found a modern axe in one of the tourist campsites. It was big, heavy, strong, and dominating. I even tried it on one of the savages and it worked great. And I spent the rest of the night in the camp. On day 9, I made my way to the beach and it was dead and dry. Not what I was expecting, but there were dead bodies hanged upside down. That was expectable. I saw a boat far in the ocean and I swam to see what's up, but I got jumped by the sharks. Like, bruh, come on. I got to the boat and finally found a gun. Now I'm the apex predator in these ends. Even the shark wouldn't dare to get close to me, and I finally made it back to the dry land. On day 10, I went to the cave that was closest to the beach. Inside the cave, I made these new creatures called blind mutants. They were crawling on all 4s and they would scream if I got too close. I also saw this horrendous creature called Fingers, but nothing could have made me prepared for these crawling babies. Jeez, they were creepy. By the end, I was cornered in the small hole by these blind mutants, so I had to fight my way back to the surface. On day 11, when I got out of the cave, it was snowing. For a sec, I thought I was teleported to the snowy mountain, but no, it was just your regular winter season. The lakes were frozen, so you know what that means, right? I can finally walk on water, but I was freezing my balls. When I came back to my base, I saw Virginia again and she was running away, of course. There came a moment when she stopped and she wanted me to follow her, but I couldn't keep up because I was freezing my balls. I found Kevin again. Oh geez, my best friend was still alive, thank God. But of course, in classic Kevin fashion, he was being assaulted by the big daddy. So I headshotted the big daddy, but he got back up and drop kicked me to the ground. He was one tough mother nature. It took 2 bullets to the head for him to drop, and soon 2 of his minions appeared and tried to pick a fight with me. I didn't realize I was holding the modern axe and I accidentally decapitated one of the minions, and I let his friend join them soon after, and I just noticed that I can burn the bodies and get the bones. For the rest of the day, we stored food for the winter, and I noticed that Virginia was hanging around quite often. I think she was finally getting comfortable with us. I started day 12 with murdering more of these unwanted guests on my property, but it was getting long because I couldn't travel anywhere or else my balls would drop and freeze. I mean freeze and drop. The next 5 days I waited for winter to pass while storing as much food as we could, and I also completed the defensive walls all around the base. So I packed my bags and grabbed all the necessities to go on an adventure. I also had my first summer kill with this big daddy. I wanted to see Virginia one last time before I go, but she was nowhere to be found. On my way, I came across these 2 giant mutants. I also tried this red mask on the cannibals, but they were having none of it. I went back to the cave near the beach to get the rebreather, and I noticed that as long as I was running, the blind mutants wouldn't be able to attack me. But goddamn, the cave was big. As soon as I got the rebreather, I was ready to jump in the water, but I noticed the shark was patiently waiting for me. So I shot his ass so many times that he drowned in his own water. And finally, I was able to get out of the cave. The same night, I got lost in the woods. I could have just carried on hiking, but I was too scared. So I made a small tent and slept for the rest of the night. The next day, I went to another cave to get the gun rope. I went inside and I came across this wall-blocking blob of moving flash. Conveniently, there were C4s right next to it, so I blew his ass into pieces. This cave wasn't as big as before, and by the end, I was able to get the gun rope. Now it was time to get the shovel from the zipline cave. The zipline cave was something, let's just say it was cursed. I got jumped so many times by these blind mutants that I was ready to give up, but at the end, I was able to get the shovel. On day 19, I went to one of the marked places on my phone. I was digging like crazy because this was my moment to use the shovel to its full potential. Surprisingly, it was just an underground bunker, and I noticed that someone built an entire house underground. But the best part was when I got my hands on this firefighter axe. Now I was ready to chop. On day 20, I went to the restaurant cave and there were a lot of expired food for me to munch on. But looking at these dead bodies hanged upside down never gets old. Oh, I forgot to mention that I also got one of the key cards and now it's time to explore deep underground. But when the finger mutant started running at me, I knew I was going places. It beat me so hard that I had to let out the scream, and it took 4 arrows for me to drop this finger mutant. I opened the door to a dining area and I swear I saw someone jumping off the window. I went to investigate, but there was nothing but blindness. On day 20, I came across a cannibal with a costume. Like, who got you dressing like that, girl? But as soon as I removed the mask, I was repulsed by the bald head and I had to punish her for it. Anyways, I went back to the 3D printing cave again, but this time I had the key card to go even deep in the hole. And to my surprise, it was just a fancy gym and it even came with 3 dead bodies. There were showers, saunas and hot tubs, but no Virginia. I shot a few blind mutants and the finger one, and I also had the pleasure of being greeted by these blind mutants at the gate, but they were stuck, so I had to help them out. I went upstairs through a fancy swimming pool and I came across this strip club, or maybe just a club, I don't know. I found another key card and I tried to open the door, but there were mutants waiting for me on the other side. So I ran past them and I found a chainsaw in one of the cinema rooms. On day 21, I came across a small island in the middle of the water. I knew the cannibals couldn't swim, so I had the brightest idea. What if I build the base on this tiny land? So I made a temporary campsite to gather all the logs and started building. Okay, so it's gonna get real boring for the next couple of days, because chopping down trees and gathering logs wasn't as fun as I anticipated. But of course, I had the chainsaw and the fire axe to speed up the process. I had a few encounters with the natives, but the most shocking part was when I caught one of the savages stealing my food. I mean, it wasn't as shocking considering they are savages, but you know. At this point in the video, I don't know how many days have passed, but I wanted to make a bridge to connect the land with a small island to keep the monsters away. So I made the stairs that would be attached to the bridge, and after a lot of mental and physical gymnastics, I was able to make this thing work. Because the rope was too short to make the bridge, and the only way to get the logs to the island was by throwing it into the water and hoping for the broken water physics to do the rest. Oh, finally, it's day 26 and I'm being attacked in the middle of the night. Great. On day 27, I was still working on the bridge when I saw a helicopter fly in the trees, and it was something. I even found some cool stuff, but I know you don't care, so back to building, I guess. I was chopping down trees when a warm-looking mutant decided to appear right in front of me, and I nearly shit my pants. What in the Holy Bible demon is this creature? This thing cannot roam around while I'm trying to build a base here, so I decided to shoot his ass till he couldn't move anymore. I don't know what day it is, but I was finally able to connect the ropes, and now it was time to put the planks to build the bridge. After countless days, I was able to finish the bridge, but to my disappointment, this numbnut couldn't even climb the bridge. I always knew Kevin wasn't the brightest, but this is just absurd. By day 30, I was placing the ground logs for the new base, and I was able to get Kevin to drop me logs at the start of the bridge, and I did the rest. I also noticed the color of trees changing, so I knew that we might be getting closer to winter. And my suspicions were right, it was snowing the next day. And I just realized that since the lake was frozen, Kevin could finally help me out with the logs. But it presented its own set of challenges, as the cannibals could also get close to my base. But this time I had built enough courage to not care about my balls falling off and went to gather logs in this frozen weather. But there was one thing that was bothering me, and it was the fact that I hadn't seen Virginia in ages. Last time when I saw her, she was running around in the snow like a numbnut, and when it snowed again, it reminded me of her, and I was choking just thinking about her. I don't know how many days have passed, but it was the battle of the frozen cannibals. I spent the rest of winter working on the base as I had nothing better to do, and on day 35 it was summer again. Jeez, that was a long time. Not for you, but for me it was a while, because all I did was work on the base. And now it was time to build the watchtower to spy on the upcoming enemies from the distance and potentially shoot them with my arrows. I spent like 3 to 4 days trying to build this thing. It needed a bit of mental gymnastics, but at the end I was able to complete the base. Welcome to my humble abode. As you can see, skull lamps on the outside with a beautiful dining table and a bench on the inside, and of course my medicine cabinet. And on the other side of the house, I got my sticks and bones and dried meat from the winter. And lo and behold, the chandelier watchtower. Truly an inspiring piece of art. Don't ask how many bodies it took for me to decorate this place. And this beautiful view from the other side. It looks amazing in the dark. On day 40, it was time to visit all the marked places on my phone and potentially find out more about the story. On my way, I noticed a lot more of these unholy creatures roaming around the forest. Even the cannibals were on edge because of these cave mutants. I found a gravesite, and as I started digging, I got me a shotgun. Oh boy, now I'm one dangerous man in these ends. As I was exploring the forest, I saw Virginia again. You know how long it has been since I've seen her? She even gave me a gift. How nice of her. It seems like she was getting warmed up to me. But suddenly we were being attacked by these cannibals, so I had to protect her. Afterwards, she was doing this weird pole dance under the tree, and I knew it was time. It was time to put a new set of clothes on her and make her my companion, just like Kevin. I even put a tracker on her just so that I don't lose her again. To my surprise, she could even hold a gun to protect me. So basically, she was my three-legged bodyguard. Now it was time to travel to the other side of the mountain, and it took me 2 days just to get there. I found another bunker, but it was just a safe zone. I also got my hands on this revolver, and let's just say it was one-shot kill. I was dropping bodies left and right until I ran out of ammo, and I got jumped real bad. I explored the rest of the forest for another 2 days, and I noticed that this part of the map was mostly dead. I mean, there was nothing to do except for these 2 markers on my phone. On day 44, I found another bunker with front doors. Surprisingly, I went inside and it was some sort of hotel. I explored the area until I reached the bathroom, and there was a broken wall which led to one of the caves. I went inside the cave and there was a golden gate with arm print as a key card. I didn't know how to open it. I came this far yet for the gate to be locked. Great. After spending 2 days in the bunker, I came out to look for some sort of golden armor. On my way, I came across the biggest cannibal campsite and started dropping them left and right until their numbers overpowered me, so I had to take my leave. I finally reached another bunker, and from the get-go, I knew there was something wrong with this place. As I opened the door, there was a giant creature fighting a soldier. Fam, the creature was throwing babies at me. Wait, there were more people than I anticipated, but I don't know what's going on. The creepy guy with silver jacket from the intro came back and ruined everything. When I woke up, the big creature was dead, but I knew it wasn't over. As I made my way through the bunker, I came across the finger mutant, crawling babies, and the blind mutant. There were like a bunch of them. This was one of the biggest underground bunkers I had the pleasure of searching. I also faced this mama mutant, and after putting 6 arrows into her skull, she finally left me alone. I found a katana in one of the rooms, but there was no one left for me to try it on. I also found the golden armor, finally. Now I'm ready to rock this forest to the ground. When I came out of the bunker, I realized that I spent 2 days there. So on day 48, I explored the whole day and I came across another bunker, but it was right in the middle of the cannibals campsite. So you know how that goes, right? I climbed down the bunker and I found a compound bow. I don't know what that means, but it was a very impressive bow, one-shot kill. On my way, I came across this plane landing crash site, and there were a lot of stuff for me. I wish I knew about this place before, but this wasn't even the most shocking part. I was shocked to my core when I saw a giant moose roaming around. Brother, I spent 50 days in the game and this was my first time seeing a moose. How crazy is that? On day 49, I decided to go back to the final cave and open the golden gate with my armor. It was one of the longest caves ever with lava pools all around. And this cave had lanky mutants instead of the blind mutants. I mean, the mutants were much bigger. But I was kind of disappointed with the cave as it was just a straight line with a few enemies here and there. I already had my armor and a shotgun, so I was chilling. Finally, I reached this golden box with someone already in it. Am I supposed to know this guy? Oh, and Kevin also came in, but the guy with silver jacket couldn't. Good riddance. Inside the box, I saw things that no one should ever see. What in the holy voodoo black magic is going on here? As I turned around, we saw this alien-looking world on the other side. It was as if we had traveled to the future. One of the most unexpected discoveries of this game. We were shocked and couldn't believe our eyes to what's going on. And in the blink of a moment, it all disappeared and we came out of the cave. There was a helicopter waiting for us and I had the choice to leave the island or keep on exploring. I mean, after all that shit we went through, hell nah. I ain't staying in this forest for another second. As soon as I got in the chopper, I saw Kevin and it reminded me of Virginia. Wait, I forgot about Virginia. Wait, she's still in the forest. Wait, I can't stop the game from taking me away. Wait, I have the tracker on her so I can come back and take her with me. Wait, the video is ending and you guys won't be able to see me get Virginia. Wait, there's another survival video that you guys can watch.